On April 6, 2026, at 8:25 p.m. Indian Standard Time, India made history, and most people had no idea it even happened. Here's what went down. India's Prototype Fast Breeder Reactor, the PFBR, achieved something called first criticality. That's the moment a nuclear reactor sustains its own chain reaction for the first time. Think of it like lighting a fire that feeds itself. Once it's going, it keeps going. And with that, India became only the second country in the world, after Russia, to operate a fast breeder reactor at a commercial scale. That's it. Just 2 countries on the entire planet. Now, India is one of them. So what makes a fast breeder reactor different from your standard nuclear plant? Simple. It breeds more fuel than it burns. For every unit of plutonium the PFBR consumes, it creates slightly more than 1 unit back. A breeding ratio of 1.03 to 1.05. It's basically a savings account that pays interest in its own currency. Oh, and it runs on 1,750 tons of liquid sodium as a coolant. A metal that literally catches fire on contact with air or water. Managing that is its own engineering miracle. Now, none of this happened fast or cheap. The PFBR was originally supposed to be done by 2010. It took over 20 years. Why? Because there was no blueprint to copy from. Engineers were building the blueprint, and the price tag reflected exactly that. The original budget was 3,500 crore rupees. By the time this reactor went critical, the bill had climbed to 8,181 crore rupees, more than double. That's your cost of doing something genuinely first of a kind. So that's the what? A 20-year 8,181 crore rupees bet on next-generation nuclear energy, and just paid off. But the real question is, what does India actually do with this now? That's where things get genuinely interesting. Now here's the part where it gets genuinely complicated. And if you run a business, or just pay an electricity bill, you're going to want to stick around for this. Because the PFBR is simultaneously a strategic masterstroke and a financial head-scratcher. Let's do the good news first. India burns through roughly $15 to $20 billion every single year just importing fossil fuels. Coal, oil, gas, to keep the grid alive. Nuclear power at scale chips away at that. Less import spending means a healthier current account deficit. Basically the gap between what India earns from the world and what it pays out. Close that gap and the rupee gets stronger. Stronger rupee means your imported raw materials, your machinery, your electronics. They all get cheaper. That's not abstract economics. That's real money back in your pocket. And then there's the reliability angle. The PFBR delivered 24 rupees/7 baseload power. It doesn't care if it's cloudy or calm. For industries like aluminum smelting or steel manufacturing, that matters enormously. Grid volatility from solar and wind is already a daily headache for manufacturers. Nuclear smooths that out. And look at this comparison on screen. The cost numbers are brutal. Building the PFBR ran about 16 crore 36 lakh rupees per megawatt. Solar? 4 to 5 crore rupees per megawatt. That's 3 to 4 times cheaper to build. And per unit of electricity, nuclear from the PFBR could cost 8 to 12 rupees per kilowatt hour, while solar today is sitting at 2 to 3 rupees per kilowatt hour. So no. If you're a small business watching your monthly electricity bill, nuclear is not your savior anytime soon. But if you're in heavy industry and you need power that simply does not stop, this reactor is quietly laying the foundation for exactly that. So the economics are messy, but the strategy might be clear. Next, let's talk about what this actually means for India's long-term energy roadmap. So we've looked at what this reactor does and what it costs. Now the real question. Who actually pockets the win here and when? The first winners are the scientists and engineers at the Department of Atomic Energy. They've just earned global credibility in one of the most technically brutal fields on the planet. That means international collaborations, career trajectories, and India becoming a destination for nuclear talent, not just a buyer of foreign expertise. Then comes the second wave, Indian heavy industry. The government has signaled nuclear expansion worth 1 to 2 lakh crore rupees by 2047. That's a long pipeline of contracts in construction, engineering, and specialized manufacturing that doesn't evaporate with the next election cycle. Now here's where the bigger picture clicks. And think of it like a multi-generational family business. Stage 1, conventional reactors, builds up plutonium. That's your savings. Stage 2, the PFBR, multiplies that plutonium while generating power. That's reinvesting profits. Stage 3 taps thorium, a fuel India holds roughly 25% of globally, to potentially create a near-perpetual domestic energy source. That's the inheritance. And you can see that upward trajectory right here on the trend. Each stage compounds on the last. Will it lower your electricity bill next quarter? Absolutely not. But 20 years from now, if Stage 3 delivers, India could have energy independence that no oil shock or geopolitical crisis can touch. The PFBR isn't today's economics. It's buying an option on India's entire energy future. And as any entrepreneur knows, the best investments always look expensive at the start. Follow us for more updates like this. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and X.